Hey everyone, Dave here, OSG TTV. Hope everyone's having an awesome Saturday so far. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, my name is Dave and we love streaming retro games. Anything from retro consoles to virtual pinball to arcade games, all the way up to VR, current gen consoles, all that good stuff. If you like variety streams like that, make sure to throw us a follow or subscribe and hope to see you back. We are doing a special recording here for our friends over at YouTube. This is kind of our little sister channel over on YouTube. Primary channel is over on Twitch, so if you want to check out the bulk of the content, OSG TTV over on Twitch. Hope to see you there. Today we're going to be playing through one of my favorite games of all time. This is back on the Commodore 64 when Dave was about yay tall, yay old. I'm trying to think of how old I was way back then. Somewhere around 13, 14, something like that. Karateka on the Commodore 64. I scored a Commodore 64 bundle. It was kind of like a full setup. It was computer, monitor, disk drive, printer, and a ton of buttload of games for $100 from a local reseller. Saw an ad in the newspaper. My dad took me over there, and my dad didn't know anything about computers, but I did, and I was like, Dad, this is such a good deal. We got to get this, blah, 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 blah. You know, and $100 was a little more back there then, but if you think of everything, they obviously didn't know what they had. I think they just wanted to dump it and get rid of it. Maybe death in the family or something. Who knows? But their loss was my gain, and that started my love for the Commodore 64. After that, spent a lot of time on that machine and played a lot of games. Karateka was one of my favorites. So let's switch over and play through the Commodore 64, not on the same hardware because we have since unfortunately gotten rid of that hardware, but we are playing this now on retro games, the C64 system. We'll watch the intro here and then we'll work our way through the game. There have been a lot of different versions of the game. Everything from early computers to handhelds to remakes, more current gen. You know, it's hard. You want to kind of call these current consoles, but when we were talking like mid PlayStation consoles, those are probably considered retro nowadays. So all kinds of versions of Karateka out there. I think the Amiga actually got a fan-created version of Karateka. So right there you got a whole screen full of different enemies that you'll be fighting during the game. Mariko is being banished to her cell. So this is one of the early days of one of your Save the Princess types of games here. And at this point, the hero takes over. So yeah, in other gaming news, while we start this up here, we got a few days away from the release of the Atari Game Station Go. As soon as that hits our doorstep, we'll give it a playthrough for a few days and check everything out and give you our honest feedback on that. I've been waiting for that one for quite a while here. So the C64 version of it is I'm gonna say it's one of the slower running versions of the game as far as the fights go. It's kind of interesting because as you progress through the levels, you do notice the sprites, the fights speeding up a bit. You know, it's a little slow at the beginning, and maybe that's done on purpose. I don't know. So you have a series of kicks you can choose from, high, medium, low. You can go in with punches, and once again, high, medium, low, kind of the same deal. A lot of the fights are timing. You have to kind of watch the animations and just kind of time your punches and kicks correctly. Got your health bar at the bottom. As you come across different enemies, sometimes the computer adjusts the health bars for the specific fight that you're going to have. In a lot of the game, if you have room to run, you want to run, but you don't want to run into the enemy. If they one punch you while you're running, your game is over. It's kind of a one life and your game is over kind of game, which is kind of nice. I think that's one of the reasons I like this game. It's not like you have 3 lives to waste. Once you're dead in this game, your game is over and you got to start all the way back from the beginning. I don't know if gamers today can handle something like that. It's a pretty basic game as far as moves and combat, but there are a few tricks along the way in the game if you're a first-time player of Karateka. All of the tricks I speak of we'll talk about as they come up, but yes, those are things I obviously fell for as a kid playing through my first couple times, trying to figure out why I died, what happened. You can kind of tell already that the kicks are a little quicker than the first fight. So as soon as that music plays and the blue bars show up on the screen, you want to be careful because you don't want to keep running. Eventually, we're just about to the entrance of the temple here. Kick to the groin works every time. So we are playing this on the retro games system of the I can never say that for some reason. The C64. There is a C64 Mini that was released by Retro Games. This is kind of the big brother. It's a full-size C64 case with working keyboard. But then you have all the options like to make you current, like HDMI output, USB input for joysticks, and USB sticks for additional games. So we're getting a little aggressive here, as you can see. I'm down to 3 health bars. He was down to 1. See, if I take my time coming in here and just walk, another enemy would show up. So we're going to run in there as fast as we can. I think even like the Apple IIe, 2C computers, I think even those had versions of Karateka for them. I almost want to say the Apple IIc was the first version, maybe the second version I played. It's kind of nice back in the day because I was the one that had the Commodore computer. Some friends of mine had the Apple computers. Another buddy of mine had the Atari 8-bit computer. I can't remember if it was a 600 or 800, something like that. But we kind of had almost the bases covered, right? So as we bumped around to each other's houses all the time to play games, we kind of weren't playing the same things. We had different systems all the time to play games on. So that music you hear, you got to listen for that. That means something's about to happen. So when you hear the do 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 do, yeah, there's some surprises in the game, like I said. So the eagle came out, wasn't expecting that. They showed this guy being released from the gate, but didn't say anything about the eagle coming out. So kicks are most effective because they have the most reach. Punches and kicks do the same amount of damage. I've got to listen for this bird again, see if he comes out. I'm like a second too late here with the eagle. So yeah, like I was saying, the punches and kicks, they all take off one piece of damage if you hit with it. The punches are a little quicker if you go in close, but not much. You can usually only get a combo of 3 in before the game stops you from stops your combo basically. So kicking gives you a little more distance to reach, unless you like have a lot of health available to you. You don't go in for the punches unless you're feeling real aggressive. These early guys, as they go in for their kick animation, you can start advancing and throw a kick their way to back them up. Guys later on don't fall for that stuff. Game is made up of 3 different levels. You have the outside, which we worked our way through already. Then you have the inner sanctum. I don't know what you want to call this. We'll call it the inner sanctum because that just sounds kind of cool. And then you have the lower level, the dungeon level, where the princess is being held. Gave that guy a flurry of kicks from low to medium to high. Like I said, you don't want to keep running. You can get into a lot of trouble if you keep running. Good strategy in this game is just to wait for them to advance, and as long as you get on it as soon as they start walking, you usually hit them first. Once you get down to like 3 or 4 or 5 health bars, then you want to kind of tone back the aggression a little bit. Kind of like right now, we want to kind of play things a little safer now. There we go. Now we're getting the advantage here. Alright, looks like we got one more fight here. That gate in front of us, if you've never played the game before, we won't tell you what happens quite yet, but beware the gate. You don't want to work this guy back into the corner of the screen where you end up going under that gate, because bad things happen. We'll kind of lure him in here. And as we were advancing the end of this level, as long as the screen is still moving, more enemies will come out. Now that we've achieved, basically moving the screen as far as it'll go, after we beat this guy, no more enemies should come out. We just have to basically deal with the gate. Should have went for the crotch shot there, actually. All right, we're down to 2 hits here. There we go. All right, so the gate, you don't want to just go running through the gate. You have to proceed with caution and kick. There is a motion sensor on the gate. So if you proceed to try to walk through the gate or run past the gate, you will get impaled. And it's not a pretty thing. And even if you wait too long to run through it at the end, it will impale you again. So you have to run at the right time as the gate is raising. All right, we are on the 3rd and final level of the game. Lots of enemies, a lot more health to them. They move a little faster, they kick a little longer. They don't just have like 1 or 2 kicks and then they stop. So it's a bunch of patience and basically patience that gets you through this game. And sometimes waiting it out. Because if they get the advantage on you, you just kind of want to back off and wait till you get some more health bars. So this version on the C64, I pretty much have the timing figured out on all of these because I've played this version so much. When you go and move over to another version of the game on a different console or computer, it gets a little tougher because the animations are quicker. They don't have the same pauses. They fighting styles sometimes change a little bit. So it's hard to go in with the same strategy that I use on the C64. Going to proceed slowly through these doorways. There's a number of doorways you got to work your way through. And if you remember from earlier, there are more enemies than just the foot soldiers that you have to fight along the way. I did mention at the beginning that the fights speed up later in the game. Maybe I was wrong about that. I know fights speed up with certain enemies. Obviously, this one's pretty slow paced yet. All right, we are at equal footing here for health, it looks like, so we're just going to be a little patient, get the upper hand on them. That way we can become a little more aggressive going for the punches, like now. So yeah, back in 1984 when this game released, you didn't have a lot of games where you're just out to save the princess. You know, you had your Mario Brothers maybe in the arcade. You had your I'm trying to think of when Dragon's Lair was released in the arcade. But an action game where you're actually trying to rescue the princess, you didn't have a lot of those. Other good games on the C64 where you're trying to save a princess, Defender of the Crown. Right, lots of princesses in that game to save. Those are just kind of more so like side quests in the game, though it's not your main objective. There's probably some text adventures out there. So as long as you end up with like a 2-to-1 ratio, you know, you get 2 hits in, maybe they hit 1 in to slow you down. It's always worth it to get a 2-to-1 hit ratio, maybe 3 sometimes. Bum, 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 bum. Patience is key. No background music or anything in this game. It's just the slight tunes you get once in a while between cutscenes. Sometimes when you defeat enemies, you get the little victory music there. All right, one of these doors has a surprise for us. I can't remember which one it is. I think there is a giveaway though when the surprise is about to happen. And we'll show that to you when it comes up here. I think we got to get past this guy. There we go. We got him 3 times. He did not get us here. So Retro Games has been putting out a lot of mini type systems over the last bunch of years. The C64 had a mini, as we mentioned before. This computer is the C64, which is full size. There's a mini Amiga, there's a mini Atari 400. There's a remake of the Spectrum. We bought one of those in and had it shipped in from overseas. As you can see, my health bar is huge. So that means something. That means something's coming up here. As we bash this door down here, you'll see we find a little surprise. I'm just going to keep kicking and see if we get lucky. We did. We got lucky with a kick. We got to fight the eagle. This is the eagle that we saw earlier. And it's all about timing. And he's pretty hard to kick, as you can see. We are struggling with the eagle today. Here, we got to hit him 4 more times. There's 1. There's 2. You don't want him to push you through that doorway behind us, because then he comes out aggressively. So he's going to hit us here. I probably could have tried to punch him a little bit here. I usually do pretty good at the upper kicks. Okay, as soon as I say that. Oh, let's get this guy. Nope, don't push me through that door. This may not end up well for us here. There we go. That was close. That was as close as I've come in a long time to losing to that eagle. Or falcon. Or whatever you call him. Alright, so you had a little bit of loading there. Can't remember if there's any more foot soldiers or if we are at the final victory, or final fight, I should say. Hiding behind this door is Akuma. I usually go in there fists a flying just to hit him at least once. So he gets like 5 kicks in. 4 or 5 kicks. So with this guy, it's definitely a waiting game. Wait till he moves and then return fire with a kick or a punch. Probably a kick more than anything, so you get a little more distance in there. Oh, he moved in a spot. Did you see that? It was real quick, but he moved up one little spot. So the princess is right on the other side of this door. If you let him advance a little closer to you, you can sometimes get 2 kicks in on him. And after he gains a health state is usually when he advances. It's hard to be too aggressive with this guy. See, he's fast. Sometimes if you're too late with your kick, you can land 3 hits on him, but he'll counter with at least 1, if not 2, maybe 3. All right, time to advance, buddy. Come on. I don't think any of my advances have worked out so far. Got 2 punches in there. We'll get a few kicks in here. That was one of those anything could happen moments right there. All right, we're at a level playing ground here. You got to remember though that he can land like 3 or 4 hits on you before he tires down and stops punching. Getting him. One more good hit. All right, we've defeated Akuma. It's time for the reward. Little trick to this screen too. Remember that trick we talked to you about with the gate? How you have to slowly approach it? Well, if you do that with Mariko here, she levels you in 1 punch and your game is over. So what you have to do with her is actually run to her. So that is Karateka in a nutshell. I'm gonna, once we get through this intro, not intro, we're gonna see if we have any save games at the crucial points. I can show you some of the other deaths that can occur. I might have saved some of those spots in the past, I can't remember. I think this just keeps repeating forever and ever. Amen. Let me try and shrink my window down a little bit here. All right, saves load states. Unfortunately, I don't have any save load states here. I thought in the past I saved some points of interest along the way. That's a cool thing about a lot of these mini systems, and this one, the full-size Commodore 64, is you can pause your game at any time and do a save state. So if you need to leave, come back. Or if you're having problems getting through a part of the game, you can use save states, and you don't have to restart from the beginning of a level or a game if things really go south on you. I try not to use it for that purpose. Sometimes I do use like level save states, like when you're playing like Mario Brothers or something like that. It helps to not have to do an entire level over just to get to one stage. So it comes in helpful, but yeah, that's one of the big features of emulation and these mini systems that come out now is you have extra features like this, which you did not have during the day. You didn't have a way to save your game back in the day of the original Commodore 64, and this just makes playing some of these retro games a little easier on the sanity level of your brain. So this has been Karateka on the Commodore 64. I want to thank everyone for stopping by. And as I said before, we stream primarily on Twitch. So if you come and give us a visit, OSGTTV, or stop by, check out some of our videos we have on our sister channel over at YouTube. We're going to try and do more gameplays, game playthroughs on there, product reviews and things like that over on YouTube, not the typical daily streams that we do over on Twitch. So if you like variety and all that stuff, throw us a follow, throw us a subscribe, and hope to see you there. My name is Dave. I'm out of here. Have a great day.